Good morning, Carrots. The syllabus which was prescribed for this year's board examination is over. Now let us discuss the question paper and let's understand on which topics you should focus on. The time that is allotted for this question paper is 3 hours and it's going to be of 80 marks question paper and 20 marks for ASL, that is speaking and listening test. So assessment of speaking and listening. General instructions. This paper is divided into two parts, A and B. All questions are compulsory. Separate instructions are given with each section and question wherever necessary. Read these instructions very carefully and follow them. So in the case of each section and question, there are instructions and those instructions you have to follow. Do not exceed the prescribed word limit while answering the questions. So if you are supposed to write any answer in 30 to 40 words, you should complete within that word limit. If it's more than 130 to 150 words or nearly 200 words, you have to be within that word limit. So let's go to part A, which is for 40 marks. Reading section, 20 marks. First question. Read the passage given below. So at the end of the passage, you will come across 10 MCQs. And 10 questions are there and you have to find the answer. So there is a change this year as far as reading section is concerned. It's a pandemic year. So now they have simplified the question paper and they have given you multiple choice questions. Let's go to the first paragraph. Who doesn't know how to cook rice? Cooking rice hardly takes time, said my father. So I challenged myself. I switched from news to YouTube and typed, how to cook rice. I took 1.5 cups of rice. Since I didn't have access to a rice cooker, I put the rice in a big pot. Firstly, the rice has to be washed to get rid of dust and starch. I thought I won't be able to drain the rice and that it will fall out of the pot. I observed the chef as I swirled the rice around and used my dexterous hands to drain it. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. I looked down at the sink and saw less than 50 grains that made their way out of the pot. Suffice to say, I was up to the mark. Read slowly. Try to understand. You can read the first line first and the last line of the passage first. And then after that, go on reading. It will help you to comprehend. It will help you to understand in a better way. Let's move on to the second paragraph now. The video stated that the key to perfect rice is equal amount of rice and water. I heard that professionals don't need to measure everything. So what does it show? Professionals don't need to measure everything. They just know what the right amount is. But as this was my first time in the kitchen, I decided to experiment by not measuring the water needed for boiling the rice. I wanted the rice to be firm when bitten, just like pasta. I don't enjoy the texture of mushy rice. It has to have that chutzpah. It has to resist my biting power just for a bit before disintegrating. After what seemed like 10 minutes, all the water disappeared. I went in to give it a good stir. To my surprise, some of the rice got stuck to the pot. I tried to scrape it off, but to no avail. At the same time, there was a burning smell coming from it. I quickly turned the stove off. "What have you done to the kitchen?" shouted Mother while coming towards the kitchen. I managed to ward her off. Finally, when the time came to my taste, my creation, I was surprised. It wasn't bad at all. The rice had the desired consistency. Sure, a little more salt would have been better, but I just added while eating. The experience was fairly rewarding and memorable. It taught me a new sense of respect for those who cook food on a regular basis at home or engage in gourmet creations professionally. Now, this is a reading passage for comprehension. I hope you understood the passage. What is the passage about? And you understood the person, the one who has cooked rice. Now, let's go to the questions. On the basis of your understanding of the passage, answer any 10 questions from the 11 given below. So there are going to be 11 questions and you have to attempt how many questions? 10 questions. And each question carries 1 mark. So these are all multiple choice questions. So let's go to the first question. What is your first question? Father's question to the narrator about cooking how to cook rice, about knowing how to cook rice was intended to. So father's question to the narrator about knowing how to cook rice was intended to A. Criticize the narrator's lack of abilities. B. Make the process sound simple. C. Encourage the narrator to take up cooking. And D. Showcase his own expertise in cooking rice. So father's question about knowing how to cook rice. So what was the intention when father questioned the narrator? Let's go to second question. I switched from news to YouTube. I switched from news to YouTube. Pick the option in which the meaning of switched is not the same as it is in the passage. He switched on the radio to listen to the news while having dinner. Forget these diet supplements and switch to yoga if you want a true sense of well-being. Mom switched to reading fiction recently because she was bored with cookbooks. D. The company will switch the trucks to other routes to bring down city pollution. Now let's go to the first question. So what is the answer for the first question? Father's question to the narrator. Now you try to remember what was in the first paragraph. So it is question to the narrator about knowing how to cook rice was intended to, I think it's quite simple, to make the process sound simple. So he wanted to make the process sound simple. It's very easy to cook the rice he wanted to convey to him. And now here let's go to the second question. I switched from news to YouTube. Even if you don't go to the passage, no problem. From this only you will understand. From this sentence itself, you will understand. I switched from news to YouTube to find out that video how to cook rice. And on the basis of that video, he wanted to cook rice. Now let's see where this meaning is not there. What is the question? Pick the option in which the meaning of switch is not the same. It is not the same. Now here when you read this, he switched on the radio. Forget his diet supplements and switch to yoga. Switch to yoga. Shift to yoga. Mom switched to reading. Shifted to reading. The company will switch the truck. So shifting, that is what is the meaning there. So A is the answer. He switched on the radio to listen to the news while having dinner. So it has got different meaning there. So let's go to the question number 3. Based on your understanding of the passage, choose the option that lists the correct sequence of the process. First one, use water to wash the rice. Second one, repeat the process 3 times. Third, drain the water off. Fourth, put rice in a utensil. Fifth, swirl the water in and around the rice. So here you have to find the what? The sequence of the process. So at first what will be there? Think over this and put rice in a utensil. So fourth one will be the first process. But after now fourth one, once you know that, put rice in a utensil. At first you have to put rice in a utensil. Then after that what it will follow? You have to find out whether use water to wash the rice or repeat the process 3 times. Fourth one. So here C will be the right answer, isn't it? So use water to wash the rice. So first put rice, then you wash the rice. So first one will be the one. Then swirl the water in and around the rice. Put the hand and then swirl the water. Then after that, drain the water off. Drain the water off. And last process will be repeat the process 3 times. So the answer is C. So let's move on to the next one. Fourth one. The narrator says that he has dexterous hands. Dexterous. He would have had a problem had it been the opposite. Not being dexterous means being. So here they have asked opposite of dexterous. Dexterous, skillful, skilled. Uncomfortable, clumsy, unclear, clueless. So the opposite of dexterous is clumsy. Now fifth A. Which option represents the correct ratio of water to rice for cooking perfect rice? So there are 4 images. And out of these 4 images, which one is correct? First image is correct because half rice, half filled water. So container, so half, it should be half. So the first image is right image because half filled. You will find the rice is also half filled and water is also half filled. So let's move on to the 6th question. How did mother react to the burning smell? So she got the burning smell, she commented on it, she brushed it aside, she inquired about it, she handled it. So there was a burning smell and naturally mother inquired about it. So C is the right answer. Now let's go to the 7th one. According to the passage, the fact that the narrator is experimentation on his maiden attempt, so it was his first attempt in the kitchen, shows that he was conscientious, very careful, No, at all. Nervous. Was he nervous? He was not nervous. Presumptuous, courteous. Courteous, polite, doesn't appear to be. Presumptuous. What does presumptuous mean? Very overconfident. And yes, he was very overconfident. And he chose that he was presumptuous. Means he was overconfident. Let's go to the next one. That is question number 8. Pick the option showing the correct use of the word chutzpah. It is the court's duty to dispense chutzpah to everyone, irrespective of caste or creed. So, showing the correct use of the word chutzpah. The speaker may not have much of a stage presence, but you have got to admit she has got chutzpah. That's here. Chutzpah, probably here B1. Just think over it, which answer will be the correct one. And you'll find the speaker may not have much of a stage presence. Now here he did not have much of, this experience of going on the stage. But you have got to admit she has got chutzpah, she has got audacity, boldness, overconfidence. I could crack the code easily, which proved me to be a chutzpah, and I was the only one who could do so. After his father's demise, the daughter took over the family's chutzpah to save it from disaster. So the right answer is B. The speaker may not have much of a stage presence, but you have got to admit she has got chutzpah. That's here boldness or overconfidence. Ninth one. Pick the option that correctly states what did not happen after the writer checked on the rice. Turning the stove off, being taken aback at the condition of rice, forgetting to scrape the stuck rice, smelling the delicious aroma of cooked rice. What did not happen? Smelling the delicious aroma. So he did not get that aroma, he did not get that smell which he was expecting. He was very overconfident, he was very presumptuous. Let's go to the 10th question now. The narrator's creation was almost perfect to taste, way off from what he wanted. So, how he felt about it? Overly seasoned, quite distasteful. I think the answer is quite clear here. And the answer is A, almost perfect to taste. And now let's move on to the last question, question number 11. So let's move on to the last question. Pick the option that correctly lists the final feelings of the writer with reference to the cooking experience. First one, frustrating. Second, amusing. Third, satisfying. Fourth, disillusioning. Fifth, exacting. And sixth, enlightening. A, first and fourth, that's a frustrating and disillusioning. Is it the right answer? Frustrating and disillusioning? No, it was not frustrating. Almost perfect to taste? No. And disillusioning? No. Second and fifth, amusing and exacting. Amusing, funny? What? It was not funny. So it can't be the answer for this. Then let's go to C. Third and sixth one. Third. What is it? Satisfying and enlightening. Yes, it was very satisfying. He was quite happy with this experiment. He was very overconfident and he was quite satisfied at the end because almost perfect to taste when he tasted. And it was quite enlightening. He learnt a lot. And last one is first and third. Frustrating and third one is satisfying. No, it can't be both. So the right answer is C, third and sixth. That's satisfying and enlightening. I'm quite sure this experience also must have been very satisfying and enlightening. So let's move on to the next question, next session. Thank you. Goodbye.